This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Listen to my radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on Houston's gospel leader, KWWJ. 1360 AM and streaming live on kwwj.org. Listen on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and streaming live on kyokradio.org. KCOH 1230 AM, The Source. On San Geek Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM. And Aliento Radio 101.7 FM and 1540 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. All right, Houston, you have me, Gilbert Garcia, with another tip from Gilbert, or tip from me. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. And we have a big show. You know what they used to say, Ed Sullivan? A really big show. No, we have a really big show. And so I'm looking very forward to this because we're talking, of course, to our brand new, I guess you're not sworn in yet.
Not yet.
Sean Teare, who is our new district attorney. And Sean, thank you. Mr. DA, welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Now, so you haven't taken office just yet, right?
Right, January 1st.
January 1st. Okay, we're going to talk all about your background and all about the race. And then, of course, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about what happened nationally because it was quite an interesting race. But the first thing I want to do is I want to say a prayer because of two things. First, we've been talking about my sister-in-law on the show as we've been sort of chronologically going through her battle with cancer. And she'll be coming back to our house here in a day or two. And she's holding her own and she looks fantastic. And she's a walking angel because, again, as I said in the past, if it were me, I think I'd be mad at God. I think I'd be depressed. I think I'd be miserable. I'd be a mean hermit. Not her. It's unbelievable how she is approaching this. And then again, we had a very, very tragic death of one of our firefighters, Mr. Marcelo Garcia III, 10-year veteran on the force, young man, all of 42 years. His whole life was ahead of him. And he's very good friends with one of my colleagues at my firm and her husband. And, of course, another one of my partners, her husband is a firefighter. And so it's very close to my firm. So with that, this is what's called the Dominican prayer. And, of course, both Sean and my daughter are at St. Agnes. And the Dominican sisters run St. Agnes, and it's a beautiful prayer that they say. So, ready. May God the Father bless us. May God the Son heal us. May God the Holy Spirit enlighten us and give us eyes to see with, ears to hear with, hands to do the work of God with, feet to walk with, a mouth to preach the word of salvation with, and the angel of peace to watch over us and lead us at last by our Lord's gift to the kingdom of heaven. Amen. So that's a prayer for my sister-in-law, Tanya, as well as the family of Mr. Marcelo Garcia. And I know he had a lot of nieces and nephews, I believe, and things of that nature. And so there's a lot going on there at that family. So coming back. So, Sean, you are now going to be the DA. When you were young, Sean, I know it's hard to, you know what, now you're a young man. For me, when I think back, it's a long time when there was a young Gilbert Garcia. But when you were young, Sean, did you ever think, one of these days I'm going to run for office and I'm going to be the DA?
I don't know if I ever thought I was going to run for office other than this spot, but when I was an intern, when I was 24, I told my now wife that I was going to be the DA of Harris County.
Come on, you did not. Well, somehow it's just fate or a dream. Yep. or however you want to do it. First of all, I think a lot of our listeners know about the DA, et cetera, but they don't really know what the DA does. And when you think about the DA, clearly that is the people's biggest law firm for criminal law.
Right.
And I want to go through that whole thing with you, if you don't mind. I know we're going to have callers in. Miss Producer, just let them roll in. I'll get them all in a second. I'd like to let the DA answer that question because, what really goes on there? Educate Houston.
So the DA's office is the top law enforcement agency in what is the third largest county in the country. We service 86 different law enforcement agencies. We are kind of the hub, and they are all spokes. So every single criminal case that any of those 86 agencies file comes to us.
Wow. And
so we handle them, everything from the Class C traffic tickets all the way up to the capital murders and everything in between.
And so how many lawyers are in this law firm? That it's not, I don't want to say law firm because it's the county attorney's office,
right,
but for people's mindset, think of it as a law firm.
So
how many lawyers are there?
We treat it as a law firm because it really is a law firm. And so we are pushing 400 lawyers.
Wow.
They're 380 something.
That makes you one of the biggest law firms here in the city.
Oh, it is the biggest law firm in the city, and I believe it's second in Texas.
Wow. So let me ask you this. You probably get some of the best when they come through law school because it's probably the best training that anyone could ever get.
It is the best training. And it's a certain kind of lawyer that we're after. We want the type A out in front, really want to get into trial. We typically aren't fighting a lot of the white shoe firms for the top of the class academically. We're looking for the ones that want to be in trial from day one.
Yeah, because they get thrown in right away.
I mean, when I was an intern there, I tried 3 cases.
You did not.
Before I even passed the bar.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this. So there's roughly, again, how many? 380-ish?
80-ish.
And how many cases do the 380 handle, would you say, in a year? More or less.
We file about 100,000 cases a year.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds staggering.
It is staggering.
I mean,
it really is.
What I hear is, do you need more lawyers? I mean, think about that. The caseload is so huge,
right,
and each one of them requires special individual care because of all the evidence and all the timing, the procedures, everything. I mean, right? I mean, it's just got to be amazing.
We always need more lawyers.
Yeah.
We could double it, and we'd need more lawyers. I mean, look, anytime that you've spent more than 10 minutes in law enforcement anywhere in this world, you understand that you have to do more with less. Law enforcement as a whole is underfunded everywhere. So what we've prided ourselves on as long as I've been around, more than 20 years in and around that office, is doing the job. No matter what is kind of in front of you, doing the job and understanding that every case has a victim or the public attached to it, and giving it the care that it's due.
Hold that thought. We have our 2 calls already. Isidro, are you there?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Isidro
Mayor,
Garza.
how you doing?
Thank you, Isidro. Isidro, let me ask you something. Isidro Garza, of course, is an icon of the community. He's worked with Johnny Mata for years and years and years, decades. And he calls in, quite often. Isidro, but you were a veteran or no?
Yes, I am in the Army, Corps of Engineers. I spent right under 16 years combined active and reserve, and I retired as a captain.
What does it mean to you, looking back in your life and your public service there here on Veterans Day?
Well, it just a time to pause. One, we've had 62 Congressional Medal of Honor winners, 2 in the Navy, 13 Marines, and 47 in the Army. But we've never been, the Hispanics have always not received the respect equitably that they deserve. And a good example is Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia was fought in World War II and Korean War. When he came back, he was a doctor when we went in. When he was released, he was given captain bars. Anybody else other than an Hispanic, as soon as you sign in and you have a doctor's degree, you automatically start with the captain bars. So why the disparity? And that's why that's not why he started it, but later on he started the GI Forum, a very well respected organization that stays up with veterans and the needs of veterans. The disparity, and even as of today, there are 456 forts throughout the United States, and just recently there were 11 forts that were going to be renamed, going away from the Confederate names that were there before. And of course, the Confederacy just pro-slavery, anti-slavery, and it was good that we're moving in that direction. But unfortunately, out of those 11, out of the 452, at that time, there were none, not 9, none were named after an Hispanic. And out of the 11, we were supposed to be glad and happy that we got one named from Fort Hood to Fort Cavazos. We should have gotten, I would think, just to try to catch up from how far back, maybe 7 or 8 out of the 11. But we only got one, and we're supposed to be. Of course, we're proud and glad that General Cavazos was recognized, and we celebrate. But then it's a new day. What do we do now? How do we make it a little bit more equitable? Why doesn't America fully embrace the contributions of Hispanics? Now I'll take it back to the Alamo. Everyone has heard of William B. Travis. Of course, we embrace that story that he drew a line on the sand and said, "We're gonna fight, and we're not gonna surrender and cross the line. If you're with me, we're gonna fight till the death." And we embrace that rich story. But what about Esparza? Esparza died in the Alamo. Nobody knows about him. Nothing's ever written about him. And not only did he die on the Alamo, his family knew that the invasion was going to happen the next day. And his wife, Jesusita, brings in her 3 children into the Alamo. And why? Because they wanted to die together.
Wow.
There's no stronger family core value than that was demonstrated, not just talked about, but demonstrated by the Esparza family. Yet his name is never mentioned. So what we continue to fight, you ask me, how do you feel today? Is on the, okay, we recognize the little that has been, the acknowledgement that we have gotten, but we must continue to fight to make sure that those people do not get forgotten. People like Navarro. Navarro wrote the Declaration of Independence both in 1836 and 1848. Yet he doesn't get the credit for it. And there's documents that show his handwritten a version of the Declaration. So I say the work is still there for us. There's a lot of work to be done. And Gilbert, Mayor, you need to stay in the battle. I know you're always in it, but we need you to stay engaged. You have a lot more leverage, and now just briefly speaking to the DA, I sure hope that you continue the good work of Kim Ogg. Kim Ogg was a good DA. We had access to her, and that's all we ask. And we ask for justice. We don't ask for convictions. The 400 attorneys should know that their job is to obtain justice, not convictions. Sometimes we make mistakes in just thinking that their mission is to get convictions. And I hope that you continue that good work that Kim Ogg did, and I hope that we have access to you.
Wonderful. Isidro, thank you for calling in, my friend. We're going to let the DA just sort of take a pause and answer that question, but thank you for calling in. We got a lot of callers today. Isidro Garza, the man, thank you for everything, my friend.
Thank you, Mayor.
What do you think? I mean, the key is, I think, having access, because I know you're going to be everywhere. because you are everywhere already, and you've been everywhere on the campaign trail, and you would talk to small groups, big groups, north side, west side, east side, everywhere. So I know you will.
Yeah.
Let's go through. I know we got a couple of calls already. Ruby, are you there, Ruby?
Hey, Gilbert, it's me.
What do you got? You got me, Gilbert Garcia, with a tip from me, Gilbert Garcia, with, of course, Mr. Sean Teare. What do you got?
Hi, Gilbert, and hello to the newly elected DA. It's so thrilling to have you on the call today, and I wish you nothing but success. And I also want to give a shout out to all the veterans today, as today is Veterans Day, and we've got to remember all the sacrifices they made for us. And I think that kind of dovetails into my question, right? Or thought here is that in this 2024 presidential election, I think there was a lot of hope for the Democratic Party once Biden stepped aside and it gave Harris the opportunity to be on the ballot. And my question is, this, as a Democrat, is, what lessons did we learn from it? Because there was high hopes, and then regrettably the outcome wasn't what we were expecting. And I think, like anything, we all learn from experiences. And your thoughts, Gilbert, on what do you think went wrong, and what can we do to kind of right this ship for the next time?
Well, Ruby, thank you for the call. And I'm going to turn it over to the DA because he ran a very good race. And what really struck me on your race was how respectful both of y'all were. You fought a hard race, both of you, but yet there was a level of respect that was, you don't see that all the time.
Sadly, at any level. And if there's anything that your race proved is if you work hard, because you worked to the end. You know the old saying in track, and I know you're an athlete, and we will get to that because you're kind of famous. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Is in track, you run through the tape, right? When you're a sprinter, you run through the tape. Right. You ran through the tape all the way to the end when the polls closed. And that's what you got to do. And I think there was a lot of a false sense of security that, oh, well, we're ahead. And so she was coming to Texas instead of being the battleground states. And, what's your take on the whole thing? Because in many ways, the underperformance at the top of the ticket almost cost you. For sure. For sure. And to answer Ruby's question, I don't think we know yet, right? I don't think that a snap judgment, and I've on Twitter and everything else, I've heard all the pundits decide already what's wrong. The only way we're going to figure out why the message didn't resonate, both locally and nationally and statewide, is doing a real soul searching, time intensive look at all of the factors that contributed to what I don't think any of the pundits anticipated, which is just a red wave across the country. And so we've got to figure out how we change and pivot, because in the state of Texas, we've got less than 2 years before we've got a governor, a lieutenant governor, an attorney general, a lot of really a county judge here race. Ruby, to answer your question, we don't know yet, but we will.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is, let's look at the data.
Correct.
Everyone knows I'm a money manager. The data doesn't lie. And so the whole point is, and you played a lot of football, the tape doesn't lie.
Tape don't lie.
Looking back at the game and the tape to really see what really went on. We got more callers, though, Sean. I don't want to, Mr. DA. Let's just see real quick. We have, what was the next?
Representative Reynolds.
Oh.
I didn't see who that was.
Representative Ron Reynolds.
Oh, Reynolds. Okay. Representative, are you there? Representative Reynolds. One of the hardest working reps in Austin, for sure. Representative Ron, are you there? He'll be coming. If not, we'll get over to the next caller. Let's go. Is there another one or no? We'll go to the next one. Daisy, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Representative Reynolds, if you're calling, call again, because we lost you somehow, my friend.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to the next caller right now.
His name is Mark.
Mark, are you there? Mark. Oh, Mark, I lost you, pal. Call back again, Mark, because we want to get your thoughts on the air with a tip from Gilbert. And here we go. We got another caller already, another caller.
1 moment.
Hit me there, Miss Producer? Mark, is that you? Mark,
Yes.
you got me.
Hey.
You got me, Gilbert Garcia,
Hey.
with a tip from me with our newly elected DA, Sean Teare. What do you got for us, pal?
Oh man, how you doing? Y'all doing all right this morning?
We are. Thank you so much. You're talking to all over Houston on 5 stations. What do you got for us, and
Okay.
what do you think about today? What question do you have for our DA, or what do you want to say?
I want to say I was waiting for him to come in and talk, and I just want to ask him. I don't know if he's familiar with this case by the name of the Armstrong case, or the way he was handled in the courts up under Kim Arp.
Yep.
And we're glad that she's voted out. And I'm asking that I see that, is it any way that I know these people are not above the law, but they went and got some investigator to look at some evidence or something and found some blood or something on the man's shirt, and we feel that it was fraud on that. And if there's any way possible that you can look into that and try to catch them, or anybody had anything to do with that, from her all the way down in our office, to see what can you do about that, because what they did to him was wrong, and we can stop them from doing that if you can look into that, because it was 2 hung juries, and then they go out and found somebody. And the woman who did it, she did it in another case also. And so we just asking that if you get a chance to look into that, because what Kim Arp has done now, she tried to bring down Lena Hidalgo. She went to the FBI and tried to get the rest of them, Kim Paxton, them, to file charges on the people that was up under Lena Hidalgo people. So I think there's a lot of fraud that was going on under her administration, and that would be a big fish that we can catch, and we can stop these people from doing that if they think they can get away with it, even though they're elected officials. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mark, hold that thought. Are you familiar with the case?
I am.
Oh, any comment? Can you comment or not? If not, don't worry, but go ahead.
So I think I can comment and alleviate some of Mark's concerns without commenting on the case specifically, because it is still under appeal. It is still a case that is in my office, and until I get back in there, I don't think it's right for me to comment specifically on that. But Mark, one thing that you're rightly concerned about, I think, is making sure that we have the right conviction integrity unit. And so what I'm going to do is stand up in its entirety, and it's going to be completely independent of everyone in the office. It is going to be a pure conviction integrity unit, staffed by a longtime public defender, and their only mission is to go back through cases that we have achieved convictions on all the way back. And they have carte blanche to look at everything.
Wow.
And look and make sure we did it right.
Wow.
And if we didn't,
Thank
then
you.
we will go back and fix it. And it's not just the A.J. Armstrong case. It is every case that we've convicted anyone on. We will start that January 1st.
What do you think of that, Mark? I don't know what you man, obviously you know. I mean, hold on 1 second. When I hear something like that, I think about accountability. I think of leadership. I think of transparency. I congratulate you, Mark. What do you think?
I congratulate this young man. The way I can hear it in his voice, and the way he said it, I understand it. And as far as I don't care. I care about the voters, the minorities, the Hispanics, the Black Asians. We hear you. And that is something that we would like to hear the district attorney say about things like that, because there's a lot of innocent people, not just Blacks, not just Hispanics, Asians, but there's a lot of different people that are innocent. And we know that for a fact, because look what happened with HPD when they throw a whole lot of cases up under the rug. You see what I'm saying? So we need someone like you to come in and fix this mess, and I can guarantee you'll have our vote. Thank you.
Mark, thank you for calling in. That means so much to, I'm sure, to the DA and certain to me to call in. So we're going to say sign off on you. Thank you for that. I want to get back to something in a second, which is explain to the listeners, when people think about, oh, they were wrongly, it was rigged or something. You really can't rig something, because a grand jury system is about bringing peers to the whole thing to look at the evidence and to decide if you want to convict someone or not. Am I correct?
That's right.
Go through that for us real quick.
So in reality, before someone is convicted by a trial, they have two views by juries of their peers. The grand jury has to hear the evidence, and decide whether or not probable cause exists. It's a much lower burden of proof, but they have the first step. Then, if you still advocate your innocence, then a jury selected by both the prosecutors, the judge, and your defense attorney then hears all the evidence and renders a verdict. And that's the only way realistically someone gets convicted once you get to a jury trial in a felony case.
So when you have this grand jury, how many people are on that jury?
So it's 14. They meet twice a week. And in Harris County, we have 5 grand juries going at every time, and we have 4 different grand jury terms for a calendar year.
And they go through it and they look at all the evidence, and then they decide, I think there's probable cause,
right.
And then it sort of gets kicked up to the next step. Is that what happens?
Exactly right.
Wow. And of course, in the old days, these grand juries did not have a lot of diversity, et cetera, et cetera. But now a lot has gone into making it, I don't know the right word, transparent and certainly a lot more fair.
The grand juries now reflect our community in a much more profound way than they did even when I started.
Very good. Very good. We have a lot more calls. Oh, Representative Ron Reynolds. Representative, are you there?
I'm here, Gilbert.
You got me, Gilbert Garcia, with, of course, our newly elected DA, Mr. Sean Teare.
Man.
What do you think? What do you think?
The myth, the legend.
What do you think?
Guys? Hey, it's an honor to be on with you, Gilbert. Thank you for allowing me to be on. Just to congratulate your guest. Sean is a fine man. He did a great job when he was employed at the district attorney's office. I know his character. I know his heart, and I know that he's going to help restore confidence back into the district attorney's office in Harris County.
Let's hold on that thought. Restoring confidence.
Yeah.
That is a big deal, because somehow the whole system is people have lost confidence. And the whole DA, the whole and anyways, I salute you for bringing that up. Go ahead, Representative.
Well, hey, I just wanted to say it's a new day. I think the voters got it right. I was proud to support Sean, and I think that he is the kind of district attorney that we can all be proud of. He doesn't pick, winners and losers. He just calls balls and strikes. I mean, he presents the evidence in a fair and impartial way, and he doesn't, play favoritism and gotcha politics or use it as a weapon to go against his political enemies. And I think that's why it's so refreshing to have him serve as our next district attorney. I'm looking forward to him being sworn in January. And I know so many people, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Democrat, Republican, Independent, that are so proud that he's going to be leading the district attorney's office.
And it was a close race for all the talk and hubbub there, Representative, about Harris County's blue. Boy, it sure looked murky to me. Representative, what do you think? What do you think? What happened here? I mean, the reality is, had the DA elect not really finished through the tape and worked hard, we might have had a different outcome.
Absolutely. We saw that with so many of the judicial candidates that were incumbents, that were well known. They lost. We saw that all across the state. And across the country. I mean, there was certainly a Republican red wave. And to Sean's credit, he worked hard. He never stopped campaigning after he won the primary, even when other people got cocky and complacent and said, hey, the polls say this or the polls said that. Sean kept being out there in the community, in the trenches, asking for the vote. And that's why he earned the victory. No one gave it to him. No one knighted him and said, hey, you're it. His opponent was out there working very hard, and his hard work and his message of inclusion paid off. So it was a wake-up call for Democrats. I'm a proud Democrat. I've been in Democratic leadership in the state house. and we have to have a post-mortem analysis, and we have to really have a come to Jesus about our messaging and some of the groups, Gilbert, that we lost ground with: Hispanic men, Black men, working class Anglos. I mean, we have work to do, and we have to get serious if we are going to regroup, which I believe we will, in 2026 in the midterm and beyond. So I'm looking forward to having a deep dive and seeing, talking to the people, having listening sessions, not talking, but listening. And that's something that we don't do enough of as elected officials, is listen. So I want to hear from the voters and their concerns. Certainly, we missed a lot of messages across this country.
Well, Representative, I'm going to cut you off here only because I think I need to have you on my show. And we got to have you on the show before the ledge starts, because
Gilbert,
it's going to be
for you, my friend.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough legislative session.
Ooh.
And there's going to be a
Brother,
battle.
is it?
And there's going to be a battle for the speaker again, I'm sure.
It's going to be a bloodbath, my friend.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm going to reach out to your office and see if I can get you in.
Gilbert, let's do it. Hey, and again, congratulations, Sean. Gilbert, thank you for always, not just this show, but for everything you do as a community leader, with your time, your talent, and more importantly, that you give with your treasure. You pay it forward, and I appreciate everything you do, man. So Godspeed to you both, and I look forward to being on your show.
Thank you, Representative. I'll reach out to you, my friend.
Okay. And Ron, I'm going to call when you're on.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Good, man.
So, Sean, I want to come back because let's go back to little Sean. So you were born in Houston.
Yep.
And your parents, are that your parents with us?
No.
Okay. Well, praise, we say a prayer for them. You have siblings?
I have 2 younger siblings.
Okay.
2 younger sisters.
And you see them?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
One of them lives in my neighborhood. We're very clannish.
Yeah.
And the other one's in LA, but she came in for the watch party. We talk probably every day.
And then you're married. How long have you been married?
19 years.
Come on, you're too young to be 19 years.
Well, we started early.
Yeah. Well, all right. For those of us that are inquiring minds like me, what's the secret to 19 years?
Doing whatever she says.
Honey, I'm talking to my wife for a second. Honey, this is your husband talking. I did not set him up for that, but you know what? He's a smart man. And so, yes, I think that's part of it. That's part of it. And y'all have how many wonderful kids?
So we have 4.
4,
we
wow.
Have 2 girls and 2 boys.
Wow. And of course, remind me, you have 2 at St. Thomas?
No, I have a daughter at St. Agnes, 15. I have 3 that are at St. Michael's, 12-year-old boy, 10-year-old boy.
Oh, you went to St. Thomas. I'm sorry. So go back. So there's 3 at St. Michael's.
Yep.
And then their daughter's at St. Agnes. So your daughter's the oldest?
She is.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And she's what year again?
She's a freshman.
Oh, my gosh. I have 4 kids.
Yep.
And my baby is at St. Agnes, a senior. And every time I see her, I just want to eat her. I just want to jump her. I just want to hug her. I just love her. Juju, I just love you. And we're going through all the applications now. And Sean, you know what? I'm crying.
Oh, no.
Man, I am crying because she's my loudest kid. When she walks in, all hell breaks loose. And then I had one son that was like a ghost because he was always quiet. It was like he floated through the air, and he'd open the fridge only like a millimeter, and his hands would sneak in there and get something. But not my daughter. But what's it like at your house for holidays and things?
Oh, the holidays.
Are y'all getting ready?
Yeah, the holidays are great. Just, mornings though, like getting here for this radio show. When you're getting 4 kids, none of whom can drive, ready for school in the morning, it is chaos.
Pandemonium. Well, so let me ask, how did they feel about you running? Did you first come to them and say, all right, family, we're going to have a family meeting. And you know what? I'm not happy where things are. And, rather than complaining, I'm going to do something about it. I'm running for office. What was it like when you said to them, maybe you went to your wife and said, honey, tell us about it.
So the genesis of it was probably 2 years before I announced. Just they were tired of hearing me complain about internal issues at the office. And obviously I had some pretty significant discussions with my wife before we told the kids anything. Because if I didn't have her blessing on it, it just wasn't going to happen.
That's right. It doesn't work.
And so once she blessed off on this being the time, we sat down the two older kids and explained it. And, I had to take this football season off of coaching the boys. And so that was a struggle for them. That's really more what they care about. My 15-year-old daughter has really gotten into it over the last 18 months. And so she's excited about this next step.
Do you think the boys, do they kind of understand what the DA does and things? I mean, you think they're in tune enough to know, God, my daddy's doing that?
Oh, they definitely understand what the DA does in a much more robust way than the average adult out here.
It's got to be, right?
They've been to my trials. They've sat and listened to me give closing arguments. They've sat there while I've been on the phone accepting charges, at the side of a baseball game, stuff like that. So, yeah.
That is amazing. We have another caller. We have an Astor. Am I saying it correct? Astor? Astor,
Yes,
are you
sir.
there?
How you doing? Yes, sir. Nice to. Thank you for having me, Gilbert.
Well,
hi, Mr. Sean, Mr. DA. Very nice to meet you.
You're welcome, and thank you for calling in. You got us. What do you got for our new DA?
All right, Mr. DA. I wanted to agree with you when you asked him what's the secret of the marriage. I sell houses for a living, and most of the time the lady makes the final decision.
That's
so
right.
He's totally correct. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for that. Tell us, what do you think? What do you got? You got a question for our guest or for me or anything, or you just want to talk to Houston?
Well, I wanted to invite Houston to this new upcoming event, very fabulous event. The very first of the type is a one-on-one event, the Salvadorian Gala. We're going to host it on the 7th, December the 7th. And I wanted to invite everybody. Todo el mundo está invitado. This is the very first event we're hosting as a Salvadorian culture. And I just wanted to make sure everybody is invited.
Tell us real quick. It's December 7th, you say?
Yes, sir. December 7th on Chateau Cristal. We're going to be giving more information online on social media. But yes, it's going to be a celebration.
Is it a luncheon, a dinner? What do you got for us?
It's going to be a sort of a dinner, a very nice gala dinner. Everybody's going to dress very nicely in a gala type of environment. And it's going to be very elegant. We're going to have very delicious food and very good music. And some great people going to be there with us. Some famous people. We cannot mention a lot of names yet. But we're going to have some artists there that will be hosting this event also.
And where's it going to be?
It's called Chateau Cristal. That's the venue. And I don't know if I can probably give you the address.
You know what? Just send it to us and we'll put it on the website.
Yes,
At the end of the
yes,
day,
sir.
how many, I mean, there's a amazing facts here, Sean, which is there are more, I'm going to get this right, hopefully. There are more Puerto Ricans. Oh, actually, the place where there's more Puerto Ricans than anywhere else other than Puerto Rico is Philadelphia.
Right.
And the place where there are more Muslims outside sort of the Middle East or in Detroit.
Right.
And someone told me that there's more Somalians outside of Somalia in Minnesota. And then, of course, there's probably more Vietnamese outside of Vietnam in Houston. But there's also more El Salvadorians than anywhere else but here.
Right here.
So, Cristal, how many El Salvadorians do you think we have here? Do you have any idea? It's got to be several 100,000.
What I can assure you is we're probably producing a lot.
Oh my goodness!
He has total. There are 11 brothers, and the family kind of keeps reproducing a lot. So you'll see a few more coming up.
Well, we appreciate that, Astor, and thank you for calling in. So one more time,
Thank you for having
it's
me. Yes,
El
sir.
Salvadorian Gala on December the 7th in the evening.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for telling all of our listeners.
Thank you for having me. You'll have a blessed day.
You too, my friend. Let's come back to you because I want to just talk about you are really the prototype of a hometown's hero, but not just because of the DA, but I think people should know about at St. Thomas. The rumor mill is that when the stadium first opened, Granger Stadium, right, which is a beautiful football stadium.
It's gorgeous.
It's big, it's beautiful, it's packed. That you played quarterback on that team, and the word is you threw the first TD and the history of that stadium. Is there any truth to any of that rumor?
It is true.
Oh
It
my
is
God!
true.
Come on, tell us about it.
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
was-
do you remember?
Oh, vividly.
I mean,
vividly.
because first of all, playing in that stadium had to have been wonderful.
Oh,
And it was brand new.
It was brand new. It was the first game.
And so you probably thought, guys, I got to make history here. And of course, was it a long pass or was it one of those like little dinks?
No, it rolled out.
Yeah, rolled out.
Yeah, rolled out. It was about 35-yard pass.
Come on.
I walked my two boys through the exact play,
Yep.
and it was the only time they've ever thought I was cool.
They thought, God,
It was the first quarter. It was great. I turned around and threw 3 interceptions that game, but nobody's thinking about that.
Nobody thinks about that. That's phenomenal. And then from there, where'd you go to college again?
I started out at Southwest Texas State,
Right.
and pretty quickly decided that was a lot of fun, not real conducive to study.
Understood.
And went back and finished at U of H
Yep.
undergrad and U of H law school.
Oh, I love that law school.
Oh,
U of H
wow.
law
The
school.
new law school is amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just love the education
I
there.
do
It's so
too.
great.
I do too.
I just see nothing but wonderful things about the alums and everything else.
Yep.
That is so great. Let's keep going there. We have Yvette. Let's go to Yvette.
You have Ernest.
Oh, Ernie? Ernest, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can, Ernest. You got me, Gilbert Garcia, and our newly elected DA, Mr. Sean Teare. What do you got for us, Ernest?
Well, thank you for giving me a few minutes on your program, Gil. But I'm listening to you basically from KCOH. So I've listened to you several times. And Sean, I am a precinct chair, election judge, and I've had the opportunity to meet you. I'm also a CWA member.
Oh,
Woo!
very nice.
I know
Amen.
you may know me by face the next time I see you. But I also want to add, I'm a member of APRI, Philip Randolph Institute, which I'm pretty sure you knew our
Oh, yeah.
past president, the late, great Miss Claire Caldwell.
Of course.
I just want to congratulate you on forming that new unit that would look over cases. But however, as an African American, I hope I'm going to suggest a few things, and you're going to
Sure.
see what you.
You go.
Number
You go.
Outreach. Make sure, and not just in the Black community, but
Right.
I can name Shape Community Center, Acres Home Community Center, places you can go that I didn't see Kim On do.
Right.
Attend. So, and the thing about that is developing that relationship with these communities helps us to better exchange information, to help us have a conversation. For instance, when Pam Turner,
Yes.
I want to use the word murdered, but that may be too harsh right now, was shot by a police,
Mhm.
and she wouldn't meet with the family or
Right.
the organization, community organization. It was like an insult.
Right.
And so I'd rather, you say, Ernest, I don't agree with you, but I'm going to hear your argument, but I'm going a different way, feels better than not meeting with Ernest at all. So
Absolutely.
I encourage you to meet with the different communities and get to know us and let us get to know you.
Right.
The other thing, and then just one more thing,
Go.
is to develop a unit that will go investigate issues like Pam Turner, which I'm pretty sure you know about. But those type of incidents, because unfortunately people of color get shot and police are no bill.
Yep.
So I know you have to work with both sides on both sides of the street, but to me, Kim wasn't fair enough. And I hope that you can at least appreciate what I'm saying and make some inroads that we can get to a place that, again, we may not agree, but we will at least have the conversation.
Well, Ernest, I think that's wonderful. What says you there, Mr. DA?
I couldn't agree more on both things that you brought up, Ernest. Here's the thing that I'm going to commit to everyone.
Here we go.
I'm going to be present. I'm going to be just like you said that I was in the campaign. You can't just show up when you need something from people. I'm going to do some pretty radical changes internally in that office. The only way that I know that it's benefiting the public is to be out in the different communities, listening, not talking, not telling them what we're doing, listening to see how it changes, having a relationship before either side needs something from you, just so that you can have a dialogue going forward. And I think it's probably because I played sports long enough. We're not going to agree on everything. And if everyone agrees with me all the time, I'm doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The police aren't going to agree with my decisions all the time. The judges aren't going to agree with my decisions all the time. A lot of the public's not going to agree, but we are going to continue the dialogue. We're going to do it professionally. I can get yelled at, I can get called names, and not internalize it and make it personal. So, Ernest, we are going to explain when we make decisions. We're going to explain to the community why we make that decision. And our oath is not to seek convictions. Our oath is to see that justice is done in every case. And that sometimes is a dismissal. That sometimes is a no bill from a grand jury. That sometimes is a diversion program where someone can go on and become successful in their life. And again, sometimes it is the maximum punishment, but it is what's right for the community as a whole. And that's what we're going to be guided by.
Amen. What do you think, Ernest?
I think that's great. And my final comment is diversify. Make sure if you come to my community, or if I come to your office, I want to see somebody look like me.
Right.
In a position, not just there doing the paperwork, because anybody can do that, but your higher level officers or assistants represent black, brown, green, yellow, whatever. So we can feel as though we're part of.
That I couldn't agree more. Look, we are in the most diverse county in this country. And the chief law enforcement agency in that county should reflect what the community is that they protect. And you're not going to have as quick a trust and bond that's so needed when you're representing victims, when you're representing, quite frankly, defendants as well, in that if they don't mirror the community that they serve.
Amen. Ernest, thank you for calling in. That was a real good dialogue. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you both.
Amen. Mr. DA, we got more callers already on hold. Let's try to get a couple more in here. And I want to make sure I give you plenty of time at the end. Excuse me, who do we got? Yvette, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Gilbert.
You got me a tip from me with, of course, our new DA. What do you got there, Yvette?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me on today. Thank you, Sean, too, thank you and congratulations, Sean. We look forward to your service ahead. And speaking of service, I just like today to thank all veterans. Major, shout out to you, and also to all public service servants, especially in the city of Houston, as we lost one of our own firefighters, Marcelo Garcia. Very, very sad time in Houston. I know everyone is mourning the loss, and it was just a very tragic event. My husband is a Houston firefighter, and this brought me back to the 2013 those fires that we had back then. I mean, the losses that we had back then. And it was a very sad time. My husband lost 2 friends at his station that day. And, I attended both services for them, and, I knew them very well too. And it was very heartbreaking to be there. And also, today I know many folks are feeling the same way, with the loss. And I just wanted to thank all firefighters, police, veterans, military, everybody, because you go out into the community, you put your hearts and souls into saving people's lives, especially in dangerous situations. So y'all are the true heroes.
Agreed.
Amen. Yvette, that is so wonderful to bring up, because at the end of the day, when people need something, they don't call Ghostbusters, right? They call 911, and they get, the firefighter to come in there and or the police officer. And, when most people are running out of harm's way, they're running into it. And they don't know, as a firefighter, when it's going to happen. It could be at 2 a.m. It could be at 9 a.m. And they're just there on call all the time. So it's remarkable. Thank you for calling and sharing that with us.
Thank you, Gilbert. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
Thank you, Yvette.
Let's try to get there. There's 1 or 2 more I saw. Deborah, was there a Deborah?
Let me transfer you, Deborah.
Miss Deborah, are you there? Miss Deborah. Deborah, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, and thank you for taking my call. Hi, gentlemen.
Of course. What do you got for us today?
I have a question for the DA, and it is, how is bond actually determined, and if the DA's office has input? Because, to be honest with you, First of all, I'm the mother of a homicide victim. So I get it. I definitely get it. But I'm having issues with the so-called soft on crime judge, and especially the way the campaign against them were. And in my mind, I feel like we lost some good ones.
I agree.
I would definitely, how in the world does that go? Does it go? What's the process? As much as you can share with us, because it's like they were just thrown on the bus. I'm just gonna be hood terms. They were just thrown under.
We understand.
They were thrown under the bus. I trust and believe. I've been there. Devin Anderson was our DA, so I know the feeling. But please explain that.
Sure.
How? Yes, and okay, I'll be quiet and
listen and don't go away because you'll probably have a follow up. So how does it all work, first of all? And is there any truth to this whole thing about all these bad actors are getting released? I mean, what's really happening? How does it work?
It's a narrative that they built up. The soft on crime judges it's just patently it's false. And Deborah, my mom's name was Deborah, so I've got a soft spot for that. But look, the process for setting bond, and the important thing to really understand is that a lot of it is controlled by the Texas and United States Constitution. The Texas Constitution says that every single person charged with a crime, except for two very narrow spaces, are entitled to a bond. Right? Now, historically in Harris County, those bonds were so high that they were unmakeable for the vast majority of people. We've gotten to the point where they're makeable bonds. They're still difficult to make in the felony cases, and for on average they're higher than they used to be. But the process is still the same in that someone gets charged with a crime, the DA's office accepts charges from a law enforcement agency, and then they go to the magistrate, the probable cause court, where PC is heard. The DA's office, as the state, makes a bond recommendation. The public defender's office makes a bond recommendation. The magistrate determines either between those two or their own what the bond is. Either side, once it gets up to the felony court, can approach the judge and ask them to review that bond decision.
Like if it's too high or too low, depending upon your point of view.
Correct.
Okay.
And so that's the initial bond. Where everyone is talking about it now is the repeat offenders that continue to get out on a bond and pick up a new charge, go back into custody, get another bond, and get back out, and you see the thing there. The judges, again, remember, there are only two very precise criteria that allow people to be held at no bond. One of those is if someone violates a condition of their felony bond after it has been indicted. And in that case, a judge can hold someone at no bond, meaning they're in no matter what until the case is over. But it's got to be by a motion of the state. So the state has to file an 11B motion and have a hearing. That's where we fall in.
And that's the state who?
The DA's office.
Okay.
So the DA's office has to file what in that case an 11B motion to have someone held. And that's where we've fallen down in the process. We should be doing that when someone, say, is charged with aggravated robbery, gets out and charged with aggravated robbery again. The judge by themselves cannot hold that person at no bond, even on the second aggravated robbery. We have to step in, and that's not been happening.
Wow. And why not? Is it just people are without getting point fingers? Is it just we're backlogged, or just sort of not? I don't want to say poor leadership. I mean, all the above.
I think it's a conglomeration of a lot of issues.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, tell us what are your thoughts there?
Well, like I said, I just feel like I just feel like the judges got a bad rap.
I agree.
I mean, I would have to actually read 11B to really get an understanding. I can't really comprehend it right now, but And I know it's all political and all of that, but I just wanted to somewhat explain that, they're not all so soft and
They're not. They're
they
not.
want.
I lost some good friends in this election.
Yeah,
Well, like anything else, it's a good soundbite. If you want these criminals to be locked up, just clean out all these judges, and it worked. They preyed upon people's fears.
It did, and I appreciate you so much. And actually, I voted for you your very first time, Gilbert.
I'm hugging you right now.
And Sean, I supported you as well. So we're gonna see. And I know you got a tough job, but you're very capable.
Thank
you.
So
thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in, and please call in again. Let's just get one more caller in real quick. Thank you so much. Is there a Dario there? Dario, are you there? Dario, are you there? You got Gilbert Garcia.
How are you, Mr. Garcia?
Is this Dario, the mayor of Denver Harbor?
You better know it.
How are you, my friend? You got our new DA, Mr. Teare. What do you got for us today? And by the way, thank you for your service. You served. When did you served? When was it? Korea?
Yes, sir. In the Korean War.
Talk to us about what Veterans Day means to you.
Well, Veterans Day means to me this. Every time this, as a matter of fact, I just had breakfast at Denny's, and they gave a free breakfast to all the veterans. So I went there and I had my breakfast, and I was so happy to see so many veterans that would come in. But something, Gilbert, most of them were Vietnam veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was the only Korea War veteran there. And one of the fellas came up and said, "Look, man, you're Korea. That's been a long time ago." He said, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 93," and he couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So, there's not many of us left. But what today means to me is this. I have a world of respect, first of all, for the World War II veterans, because had they not fought and won that war, we'd be speaking German today.
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam, same thing. Had these fellows not been in the service during the Vietnam era, we'd be speaking Vietnamese. Who knows? But look, they want to talk about heroes. Well, to me, the heroes are the guys that didn't make it back.
Mm-hmm.
They gave their all. They gave their life for their country. And, and these are the people that we should be respectful for and praise them, every time. Of course, the guys that are still alive, hey, man, I respect them. I just have a lot of respect for them. Love every one of my veterans. Matter of fact, Gilbert, you can come back on Wednesdays, Doña Chelas. I'm still the chair of the Johnny Cervantes United Veterans Club. We have about 40 veterans that meet there every Wednesday. And of course, the invitation is open to you.
Well, we appreciate that, my friend. We've got about 30 seconds. What do you want to say to Houston right now and to everyone about Veterans Day?
Well, what I want to say today to each and every one of my veterans and non-veterans, if you're able to, get a little flag and wave it.
Amen.
Wave it. Wave that flag, okay? First of all, get thanks to God that we're still here. I do that every day. Thank God. And then thank this country because of the freedom that we have. Remember something. It is your right. I don't care. It is your right. Vote as you want to vote. Do what you want to do within the law, of course. But I say to you, praise the United States of America. Praise the United States of America. And with this, I'm going to leave you, Gilbert, because I know you have somebody else waiting. I'm going to say this to you. God bless America, first of all.
Amen.
God bless.
I'm hugging you on the phone because you are 93 years young, my friend. Thank you for calling in. I'm going to have you on the show.
Okay, guy.
Okay.
Well, you take care, and
Yes.
God bless you, my man.
Likewise. We have about a minute. Let's go all the way to the end. Right there, Mr. DA. First of all, It's amazing when time flies.
Yep.
Just look at that camera. What do you want to tell all of Houston and the surrounding areas? Because everybody's listening right now.
That I am so excited from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And from my hometown, I am going to make everybody proud. Thank you, guys.
We love that. And you heard it here first on A Tip from Gilbert. Talk Inspiration Prayer with me. We'll see you next time. This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Listen to my radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on Houston's gospel leader, KWWJ. 1360 AM and streaming live on kwwj.org. Listen on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and streaming live on kyokradio.org. KCOH 1230 AM, The Source. On Sand Geek Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM. And Aliento Radio 101.7 FM and 1540 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then.